Hi, sis. How are you?
Good
Hello,
to see
everyone.
you. Hey, Seattle.
Yeah.
We are so happy to be here. One, thank you, Nikki, Kate, and Sharon for an incredible conference, and happy to see each and every one of you here, given that, you know, we outside, as the kids say, so we're happy to be here. We have both traveled very far, me 6 hours on a plane, Tarra 2 hours in a car, to be here with all of you, so we need you all to be engaged, okay?
Yes.
Even though we only have a little bit of time, but this was really a homecoming for the two of us. We haven't seen each other in what, how many years now?
I would say, well, we haven't seen each other for about 2.5 years when I was in New York last.
Right.
But we met here in Seattle in 2015.
Yeah.
And our story is, one, I think it's beautiful to me. We both had just come home from prison. We hadn't been out for very long. And Topeka was traveling all over. I think she was out less than a year.
Yeah.
And was traveling all over law schools across the nation to talk about ending the incarceration of women and girls. And I happened to be in my first year of law school, and I had just got out of prison 2 years prior to that.
Yeah.
And we were just reflecting, like, we had nothing but each other and our friendship at that time. We were both, pretty poor at the moment.
Very coming out of prison. They don't even give you a bus ticket. So.
Yeah, and I was racking up thousands of dollars in debt by the day in law school.
Yeah.
So we were, and we met at University of Washington Law School when she came here, and we've been really close friends ever since.
Yeah, so it's exciting to see my beautiful sister again here. And when I was asked to come here and talk about my experience, I was like, well, I can't come to Seattle and not call my sister. Yeah. It was so important to be here using this platform to talk about not only the issues that we have gone through in our past, but really this is about being bold, right? Mm-hmm. And so often we're asked to talk about the experiences and all the trauma to prison, but we tell everybody, you can Google that. We've said it 100 times. There's TED Talks, there's many, many things. And we only have 12 minutes, so we're not gonna use the time to talk about that. But what we will talk about is what we've been able to accomplish since that time and how we both utilize our experience in order to change the lives of not only ourselves, our family, and our community, but other women and girls around the world. And so my sister here is the representative, Tarra Simmons, Esquire. We got to put some respect on her name, okay? We talk about boldness. I think that is just so important in her journey. And I remember at that law school meeting her here, and we were talking about how we started running around the country and telling our stories and why it was so important. When I got here to do the symposium, one of the organizers at UW was like, well, what's your honorarium? I'm like, what's that? And I'm like, I'm just telling my story. People need to hear this. And she was like, no, like, we pay our speakers. I'm like, what? And then I'm like, well, what are you saying? I was like, I don't know, like, it's 15 of us. They're like, we don't charge less than $500. I'm like, wait, what? We've been to Columbia Law School, NYU, nobody was giving us anything. And I'm like, hold on, we have to talk about this, but it also started this movement around really being recognized as experts and really being able to be compensated, not only for our time, but our work. And why are we not valuing women truly in order how to use their stories in order to change? Because we've passed policy over the country. We've done so much, and we're running. I mean, next week is your launch of your campaign for her re-election, folks.
Yes.
Okay, so we got to get involved here. We're right here. We have to donate to the campaign because we need our sister running things. She is the first previously incarcerated person in any state legislature. The first. Yep.
Yeah.
I gotta brag about you. And wait, before you say anything else, hold on. And she finished law school and they would not let her sit for the bar. And she took her case all the way to the Supreme Court and won.
Thank you, sister.
Absolutely.
I love you. Yeah. I think, it's a culmination of a lot of things. I definitely stand on the shoulders of a lot of women before me, and a lot of people of color, LGBTQ folks. If you look at our history, right, there's always had to be somebody that went first. And, I remember when I met Topeka, I was in law school, and I didn't think I was going to have a problem becoming a lawyer because there was other men who had been incarcerated who had become lawyers. So I was really shocked when the Washington State Bar Association denied me at first. But, I did have the opportunity, men, allies, stood with me, represented me to the state Supreme Court, formerly incarcerated male lawyer, Sean Hopwood, represented me for free in the state Supreme Court, spent, hundreds of hours. And, when that decision came down, when that decision came down, the court did unanimously grant that, and they also pointed out the gender inequity in my case, which was really validating, But it's definitely taken, people who actually just love me and invest in me, like Topeka and other people who I just meet randomly all around the places that I go and travel and speak and talk and share my story, that become my friends who continue to encourage me because it's very hard. Now I'm in the state legislature. I'm the first and only person who's been in prison, and we're talking about criminal justice system and trying to change policies to actually create a more humane and just system and end the incarceration of women and girls. And my colleagues don't understand a lot of the time, and it feels really marginalizing. But I think about the first woman ever who had to get elected and become a legislator, or the first woman who became a judge. I mean, now look, we've got Justice Jackson on the United States Supreme Court, right? Look how long it's taken for us to get a black woman elected or appointed to the United States Supreme Court. But those types of things give me hope, and I am there to open doors for other formerly incarcerated people, and particularly formerly incarcerated women. So I am so grateful again for my sister Topeka, and we're just people who have saw my humanity despite my past and have opened the door, because that's how we're going to change the world, is by getting more people with lived experience into positions of power.
That's right. Right? This is why she has to be reelected, folks. So you have to do everything you need to do to make sure she's there, and she stays there for as long as she needs to stay there, right? And this is why it's so important that we don't always talk about those things that drive us to incarceration. Because I know for me, so often, it didn't matter how many accolades, how many awards, even the fact that I received the presidential pardon in 2020. The fact of all of those things, people still saw the conviction. And so it was like, well, even though you have been forgiven, in the United States, since it was the United States of America versus Topeka K, Sam, as a federal case. And then I got that, I got my pardon, so it's supposed to be, all is well, and, you've done a great thing, and you've redeemed. I've been redeemed through God, thank God. But in the government, I was. But it was still, and has been, increasingly difficult, even with an organization. My organization, Ladies of Hope Ministries, focuses on ending poverty and incarceration of women and girls globally. And we do that through two pillars. One is direct service and sustainability, and the other is policy and advocacy and engagement. And what we know is that we cannot fight for ourselves, for anyone else, unless our basic human rights are met, which is safe and affordable housing, access to healthy food, and equitable opportunity through career, job development, entrepreneurship, and training, and quality health care. And everyone wants the same thing, right? Like, you go to college and you're able to thrive if you have safe housing. You get out of college and you come home and you either go live with your parents because you have to get some money, or you're able to find somewhere else, and guess what? You're able to thrive and transform your life. But when you don't, whether if you're unsheltered, if you're coming out of some type of abusive relationship, coming out of some type of state violence, aging out of foster care, these are things that are already marginalizing so many women and girls in this country. And to hear the report that said it was 130 years where women may have some type of equity, and I'm thinking, I know previously incarcerated women are not even included in that report, right? And so when we were talking recently, I was on a panel talking about unemployment, and we talk about the numbers of women who have been unemployed because of COVID. And what we don't talk about is 43% of all women who are released from incarceration will remain unemployed for up to 5 years. And that's why recidivism is high, and people don't give people second, third, and fourth chances, right? And so as we have this conversation, it is critical to say that, we are because of our support, our network, and the people who gave a chance to us, but also believed in us. But so does every other woman and girl, right? Like, we don't need to be an anomaly. That's not the case. There's so many brilliant people that are incarcerated in this country, in the world, unfortunately. And really, they need the opportunity, and it takes each and every one of you, right? When you know that you're in a position to provide a platform for people to be educated and understand about the things that we've experienced, or you can unlock an opportunity by giving a person a job, right? Or allowing them to come to your school. All of the legislation that has been passed around just making sure you don't have to check a box to get into college. Or, why am I checking a box for a job when I've already paid that debt? And then, okay, you remove the box, and then what happens? People still have to consent to a background check. And every employer, every state is an at-will employer, so people get terminated. And then what's happening? You don't have safe communities. And even those of us who've been incarcerated, we want to be safe too, right? So, I got the little wave down to say that we're really ending out on our time. It's so sad, it's so soon, but it's dynamic speakers that are coming behind us. And we're excited to hear from them also. But I would just like to, again, urge you all to, one, when you think about women and girls, you think about all women and girls, and you think about the least of us. And I say us just because, I'm free. I'm not free until every sister is free. And for Tarra, the way that we continue to support her right here locally is by helping to elevate her message, helping to support her campaign, making sure that she is reelected, and giving her those opportunities to help mentor other sisters so they too can run for elected office, and help her get, I wanted to be governor, but that's my own thing.
Maybe one day. We'll see.
You heard it first.
Yeah.
Maybe one day. You heard it first.
Ah.
But Tarra, I guess in our last minute, is there anything that you'd like to add?
Just, it has really taken strangers who became friends to get me to where I'm at today. And, the work that I get to do in the legislature now is really impactful. My freshman bill, they always tell you to take like an easy freshman bill to like change the name of a road or something. I couldn't help it. Mine restored the right to vote for 26,000 people in Washington State. I've been able to do some really impactful work there, making sure people have 6 months of housing paid for when they come out of prison, removing barriers to healthcare jobs, and I think, I do bring a missing voice, and I would like to see more people with lived experience, more people who've been incarcerated become, lawyers and legislators and in decision-making spaces, because that is how we will change the world. And that, if you've not been impacted, you've not been incarcerated, you have a role in this and you can open doors. And so like Topeka said, whether that's through giving someone a job, mentoring someone, being a volunteer in the prison, all of that, leads to resilience and builds people's self-confidence and their worth, because they've been invisible for so long. And so all of us have a role to play in ending the incarceration of women and girls, and I'm really glad that you all are here tonight taking time to celebrate bold women of all kinds.
Thank you. Well, I think Tarra has just dropped the mic. And all I'll say is, re-elect Rep. Tarra Simmons. All right, well, I know that's our time. Thank you so much for just, being open and, listening to us, and just to lend one last statistic. 1 in 3 adults are impacted by the criminal legal system in this country today. And that includes every single one of you in this room. Right? So when we understand that it's not just those that look a particular way, or we think that that's what they've been through. It's someone in each of our families has been impacted by that system. And so in order for us to dismantle that, we all have to work together. So be bold. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you.